Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Jamaican Patois. Come up with all the things, come up with talk about some Jamaican old time wise sayings. So this is Cam. I'm here in my born country, Jamaica, a barnyard. I come from, I live, I there. So, this week, as usual, we're going to look at four wise sayings that Jamaicans have passed down through the decades from grandma to mom to present day generations. These are wise sayings that we fall back on when we need that rude awakening or we need that little voice to guide us along the way. If you hear any slamming in the background, that's the sound of my neighbors playing dominoes, right? Today is Sunday. It's one of those days when the men come out and they get together and they play dominoes and they make a lot of noise. So if you hear any slamming, that's somebody about to win a domino game. And the Jamaican men don't just win quietly. They have to make a lot of racket. When they win, they have to beat the table. They have to turn over the table sometimes. Or the loser would be the one turning over the table. So just letting you know, if you hear any noise, screaming, it's not anyone being taken off the face of the earth. It's just some Jamaican men playing dominoes on a Sunday. All right, so let's look at the first um, the first wise saying, the devil trung. When in Jamaica we say the devil trung. So we're talking about the devil, and of course we are a heavily Christian oriented culture, right? So we will talk about the devil and his shenanigans. So usually when you say the devil strong, so that's what it literally means. The devil is strong. The devil is flexing his muscles. The devil is showing us how much power he has. And this is said usually when something happens that it really testing your faith, right? Anytime you're in a situation and some happen to test your faith, you just shake your head. So it's usually you shake your head and you say, boy, the devil strong, man. The devil strong, So let me give you some situations where this could be used, right? And some of these are really pet peeves with me. Also, I hate when these things happen. So, for example, you wash your clothes and you hang them on the line, right? So, in Jamaica, we don't have a use for a dryer. Yes, we might have a washing machine. Although in the old days, the women would go to the river and they'll beat the clothes on the rocks and they'll stay in the yard and they'll get their wash pans and scrub and use the brush and use the fingers and wash, right? But nowadays, most persons will have a washing machine, but hardly anybody would have a dryer because why? Why would you have a dryer? Look outside my window here. It's brilliant sunshine, and this is how it is for most of the year. We have a very short rainy season. For most of the year, it's brilliant sunshine. So you wash your clothes, you go outside, and there's a line stretching from here to Timbuktu, and you would hang your clothes to dry in the sunshine. Now, if you have your whole day's load of clothes on that line and the line tumbles down, the line breaks down, and all those clothes are in the dirt, can you just imagine? Usually, you go to wash, you set aside a day for that, or at least half of a day for that. You have your big pans in front of you, your basin full of clothes, and this batch of clothes, that batch of clothes, and then can you imagine you hang them on the line and that line bursts and tumble down with your entire wash? That is the devil flexing his muscles. That is the devil telling you, say, hey, I am here to test you today. And you know what? All I can say is, boy, the devil trump. Another scenario, Jamaican women are very proud of their clean, shiny floors, especially when we used to put the red oak. So there's this red ochre you put in the floor polisher to give it that red shine, and you shine it and it's just brilliant red and clean. And then now the little pit of them from out the door, the little kids come in with their muddy feet, or the dogs running with their muddy um, paws and mess up your entire floor. And you just shake your head and say, boy, the devil strong. The devil strong in a man. Or you have your pot on the wood fire. Back in the old days, you're outside, you have to cook on the wood fire because we didn't have any gas stoves or electric stoves at that time. And the entire big pot of food that you're cooking for everybody, you're cooking for auntie, uncle, cousin, grandma, brother, sister, everybody live, the extended family. So you know, it's a big pot of food. Worse if it's a big pot of soup or your rice and peas and it turn over. Maybe one of the stone roll away and the pot lose balance and turn over in the entire thing. Out the fire, mash up the food, no food, not there for share, right? Or in Jamaica, we have this thing to say, you know, when you're cooking, so you have the gas stove inside the kitchen now and you're cooking, you know, when the gas more likely to finish on a Sunday when you're cooking your big Sunday dinner. So in Jamaica, our Sunday dinner would be the rice and peas and chicken. That's the main staple Sunday dinner for Jamaicans. Your rice and peas and chicken. Some people might also have beef or fish or whatever else, but you must have your rice and peas. And when you're cooking your Sunday dinner and the gas finish, especially in those days when you couldn't just call up the gas company and they'll deliver. Nowadays, they'll deliver even on a Sunday. Back in the day, these usually you'd have to go to the gas station. And many times, especially in the rural areas, these places wouldn't be open on a Sunday. So when you cook in your Sunday dinner and the gas done, you have to head outside to make up your coal stove or your wooden fire to finish cooking your dinner. And at that time you'd say, boy, the devil strong. The devil strong in other place today. The devil is flexing his muscles today. Another scenario, and there are many scenarios. I'm going to give you a ton load of scenarios today about how the devil can flex his muscles, right? So you just hang out your clothes, and a lot of it have to do with clothes. So you're going to hear me mention clothes a couple times. You just hang out the clothes, and guess what? Rain start to fall. Or better yet, the rain don't just come down all at once, so you know definitely it's going to fall, so you pick up at the clothes. The rain might start to drizzle, right? And you take back the whole line of clothes, and then all of a sudden the sun come back out. You hang out the clothes again, rain start to drizzle again. So we as kids, we would say the devil and him wife a fight. That's how we call it. Satan and him wife a fight, rain a fall, breeze a blow. The devil and him wife a fight. So I can imagine you hang out the clothes, rain start to drizzle, take about the clothes. Because some people don't like the smell of the clothes when the rainwater touch it. It give it a particular smell. I personally don't mind the smell. And as a matter of fact, when you live in the country, it's rainwater you use anyway to wash the clothes. So what's the big deal? But some people, they don't want the rain to fall on their clothes that they just washed. So if the rain starts to drizzle, they're gonna take up the clothes, and then the sun come back out. You put out the clothes, the rain starts again, and you say, "Boy, the devil strong man." The devil, you're really strong today. The devil is just being pestiferous, testing your faith. Another example, you're just getting ready to wash. Like I said, a whole heap of things have to do with clothes and washing. A lot of things that the devil gets up to have to do with washing clothes for some reason. Apparently, the devil doesn't like clean clothes. So you're getting ready to wash. You plan out your whole wash day, and you have all your pans, all your whatever, or even you have the washing machine ready. And guess what? Water gone. Water lock off, right? In some rural areas, this water lock off is a very common thing. Right? It's not like in the more developed areas or in the more developed countries where water lock off might not be so common. Right? But we where in Jamaica live, you will have your fair share of lock off, and it often happens when you're just getting ready to do some chores that involve a lot of water, right? Another scenario, you might just have a pestiferous child on your hands that day. You have a lot to do, and this child just gets underfoot. This child just gets in your way. This child was sent by Satan himself to be underfoot that day. And no matter what you do, the child just finds something. The child needs you for something, and you're trying to get your chores done, or you have a particular task that you just need some time to concentrate, to focus on, and that child is just in your way. In Jamaica, we say this is a fatiguing child. My mother would say, you're fatiguing bad. You're giving me fatigue, you're wearing me out. This child was sent by the devil, and this is a way of the devil flexing his muscle to say, I am strong and I'm going to put you to the test. Another scenario. You're going to take the bus, and listen, our bus system in Jamaica is deplorable. Deplorable. You will be at the bus stop for hours sometimes. So if you don't have your own vehicle and you're relying on the public transport system here in Jamaica, you are out for an experience. So imagine you leave your house, walk into the bus stop, and you see the bus that you want passing by just before you get to the bus stop. The devil throng. The last example I'll give you about this particular wise saying, the devil throng, is when we say in Jamaica, your boot left your road or your clothes left your road. Your shoes have left you on the road. That means you go out, dress up nice, and your shoes literally give way, or your clothes literally rip and leave you stranded on the road with all your belongings exposed or dragging your feet. Sometimes the shoes dry rot and you're not aware. Maybe you had the shoes a long time, or somebody had the shoes a long time and give it to you, and they think it's in good condition and you think it's in mint condition, and you wear it and you're all dressed up, dressed to the bone. This has happened to me a number of times. It's very embarrassing, and you're walking and all of a sudden you feel the ground literally under your feet. There's nothing between the road and your foot. And then you realize that, oh, my shoe is no longer a shoe. The sole has gone, or some other part of it has gone, or my dress is now just back to being cloth. The devil really strong. When these things happen, to test you, right? To test your faith and test your patience and test your belief in a all-loving God, say the devil strong. All right, so the next wise saying is we have this question, this rhetorical question that we ask of each other. And the question is, you're not sorry for yourself. You're not sorry for yourself. That means, aren't you sorry for yourself? So usually we ask this rhetorical question when we see that someone has bitten off more than they can chew, when someone has taken up more than they can manage. I don't know if you hear the domino players in the background. I just heard them riling up a while ago. Apparently somebody is about to win. Right. So yeah, when we see someone has taken off more than they can handle, they have deliberately taken on more than it's clear that they can handle. We say, boy, you're not sorry for yourself. You're not sorry for yourself. So for example, this old man, old decrepit old man, can barely manage himself and he takes on this young, vibrant girl, right? Who will clearly give him a heart attack, who will clearly break his back, who we clearly cannot handle, but going through some kind of midlife crisis or having some kind of thing to prove to someone, he, in his old age, has decided to take on this young, vibrant, voluptuous woman in a sorry for himself. Aren't you sorry for yourself? Don't you take pity on your own self? So if you not sorry for yourself, who are sorry for you? Well, so I was saying if the doctor, if the patient don't care, why should the doctor care? Right? Or it's sometimes said to a woman, particularly a younger woman, who, as we says, breed up every minute, having children, having several children within a short time, and she clearly cannot manage to provide for them, or the fathers are not in their life, and she gone back again and gotten pregnant again. Seeing the situation, you look at her and say, you're not sorry for yourself, Mrs. My girl, you're not sorry for yourself. Hmm? Aren't you able to look at your situation and see that you are in above your head? Right? See that the situation is much more than you can handle? Aren't you able to look and see, does somebody else have to point this out to you? Where is your discernment? Where is your sense of having learned from the experience you've had so far? Don't you see that this is not a good situation to be in? So sometimes you see some young women and they're in their early 20s and they have had 4, 5 kids, sometimes for different men. And you're saying, okay, first time mistake, okay, second time, all right, another mistake. But the third, fourth, fifth time, as we always say, first time, shame on you, second time, shame on me. We have to be able to learn from our mistakes as well as the mistakes of others. And you have to look and see when you have bitten off more than you can chew and decide not to bite off anymore. Be sorry for yourself. Don't let this sympathy and the pity always be coming from outside. Other people looking at your situation and seeing your error, and you're unable to examine your situation, your condition, and see the error and decide to make a change. Right? So there are other scenarios where we say, why, sorry for yourself. Even something as simple as a child having a big school bag. So you see this child going to school and the bag bigger than the child. The bag is bigger than the child. And you say, boy, sorry for yourself, brother. Why you put so much book in the bag? Don't you have a timetable? Don't you have a schedule you can look to see what you're going to need that day? Why do all the books have to be in the bag all the time? Right? So anything that indicates to us that someone has taken up more than they can manage, and you have to step in and ask that rhetorical question. Aren't you sorry for yourself? Why are you stressing yourself out? Why are you putting yourself in this situation where you clearly will not be able to cope? Next wise saying, a promise is a comfort to a fool. Now, this is not entirely a Jamaican saying, but of course, we have taken it and Jamaicanized it, right? A promise is a comfort to a fool. And we also say, mouth make for say anything. The mouth was made to say anything. You see how big the mouth is? So it can stretch to the side, stretch top and bottom. It can accommodate all kinds of sweet words according to its convenience. Mouth make for say anything, and a promise is a comfort to a fool. Right? So whenever somebody is making a promise, especially a clearly outlandish promise, they are going above and beyond to convince you of what they intend to do for you. You have to take it with a grain of salt. That's another thing that we say. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it with some salt. Don't just be gullible. Don't be so quick to believe this person, right? Think carefully about what the person is promising. And as the song says, promises at night are easily made, but they can disappear at the light of day, right? Promises at night are easily made, but they can disappear at the light of day or when the darkness fades. So think about the situation. Think about the whole context of the situation that's happening. Think about the person and their motive. What do they stand to gain from this promise? What do you stand to lose if you're going to take them at their word? You have to think, right? What does this person stand to gain if I do what they're saying? If I believe this promise, this outlandish promise. I saw a meme once, and the meme said this lady was crying, right? She was crying her eyes out as she was saying, he promised me the world. He promised to give me the moon, right? He promised me the world. And clearly he did not deliver the world to her. So the other woman in the meme was saying, okay, sis, he promised you the world, but what was the rest of us supposed to do? What did you think was going to happen to the rest of us when he gives you the world? We live on the world. We live in this world. So that promise should have been a red flag to you if he's promising you things that he clearly cannot deliver. He's not in the position to deliver. Of course, taking it literally, right? But someone promises you the world, you have to analyze, can he even do what he's saying he will do for me? Based on the position that he's in now, do I really see this person being in the position to deliver what is being promised, right? Mouth make for say anything. Don't give a sure for unsure. No give a sure for unsure. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bushes. All of these sayings are wise sayings, and they pretty much are telling us be careful of people who come making promises. Be more interested in what the person is doing now. What are you willing to do now? What's the effort you're willing to put in now? What is your situation and your circumstance right now? That's going to be an indication to me of what you are able to do in the future, because promises extend us into the future. Is what you're planning to do, what you're committing to do in the future, right? But we have to use things that are, we have to use the present to gauge what we think will happen in the future. Another Jamaican saying, use sleep, mark death. Use sleep, mark death. Use the small things, use the present things to gauge what is possible for the future. All right. The next the next wise saying is, and again, this one is not a native Jamaican saying, but we of course have Jamaicanized it. And this one is, the new broom sweep clean and old broom know the corner best. New broom sweep clean, but old broom know the corner best. So the first part of it, new broom sweep clean, that's an old English proverb. And this is, it means when someone comes into a new position, they tend to make drastic changes, right? So you have a new boss or a new manager, a new supervisor, they come in, they tend to do a clean sweep of the place, right? New employees, or mostly new, they tend to want to do away with the old regime, the old employees, the old standards. They come in with brand new ideas, and they expect full cooperation from those coming in, right? So they want to start with a clean slate. When we have Jamaicanized that proverb, and we have added our little bit to it. So new broom sweep clean, but old broom know the corner. And for us, what that means is, the persons who were there in your life all along, your old friends, maybe your old lover, are the ones who really know you and can really cater to your needs. That's the catch for us, right? So we're saying, don't be too quick to dispense with the old, the traditional, the worn out thing that has served you well, but might have become not so sturdy. But if you literally think of an old broom, right? It has swept that floor so long, so often, it literally knows the corner. It literally has been molded to fit into that corner, to sweep that corner, right? Because of the fact that it's doing so often, so often, so often, it can get into those areas. The new broom is stiff. It's, yes, it does sweep clean. It literally does sweep cleaner. But can it get into that nitty gritty, into those crevices, into those corners? Can it manipulate that terrain as well as the old broom can? So don't be too quick to dispense with your old friends, your lifelong friends. Don't be too quick to dispense with your family in preference for new people coming into your life. You have to make room for both, because each one has its advantages. Those who have been with you all your life, your old friends from school days, they know you. They know your weaknesses, they know your strengths, they know how to tend to you, right? Your old lover, or the lover you have had coming all along, they know how to please you because they've been with you so long. They know the contours of your body, they know where to touch, they know where to hold, right? They know what to say. at different times. And I'm not saying we should never get rid of anyone who has been with us for a long time. Some persons, we will outgrow them and they will outgrow us. And the relationship, whether it's a friendship or an intimate relationship or even a family relationship, the relationships can serve their course, they can run their course, they can become defunct after a while. You outgrow things, you outgrow people. And if it's time to move on, it's time to move on. However, don't let that be your default setting where as soon as something new comes along, a new trend, a new fad, you discard the old. As soon as you meet new people, you no longer have time for your trusted, loyal friends. As soon as you get married and you've gone off to another family, you forget all about your own relatives. Don't be like that. We have to have balance in our lives. We have to see the qualities that in the persons that we have had over time. They have stood the test of time. These persons have shown themselves loyal and committed. And we need to show that we appreciate this, right? We need to show that we appreciate this. And if we want to be literal, and you have an old broom and it can no longer serve the purpose that it was bought to serve, yes, you throw it away, but not before it has served all its use, right? You must get the full use out of it, or use them both. So when you really want to get into that nook, the cranny, those are the areas you might have to draw for the old broom, because the new broom just cannot contort itself. It has not had the experience in your life as yet to be able to reach those places, right? So this just telling us to not to take for granted, not to take for granted um, the long serving faithful things in our life, whether they be things or they be people, right? So again, wise sayings, things for us to ponder, things for us to use to guide us as we go through life. These very wise sayings, these old sayings, we should not discard them. We should keep them close to our bosoms and see what there is to learn from them. My culture is rich, you know. Being in the Caribbean, we benefit from so much culture, things coming in, trickling in from so many places. The most dominant being the African cultures, right? And our ancestors have sent these down to us, and our grandmas, our mothers have gathered them, our grandpas and fathers have gathered them, and they keep repeating them to us. And this is the legacy, and it's part of our duty to hand them now to our children. You know, my students, one of the things I observe about my students, often I would say something, an old time Jamaican saying, or even one of the more standard English sayings, right? And I would say it to them, and they're wondering, what is Miss talking about? What do you mean? And I've noticed that these youngsters nowadays, they are not even able to interpret the meaning. They can't make head or tail of these wise sayings. They're no longer familiar with them. Just like when we were growing up, you would hear these so often, and just from the mother wit, the communal wit, the meaning would trickle down to you. If not immediately, then as you grew, the meaning would trickle down to you. Nowadays, these youngsters, they are not hearing these things, and they're not having the capacity to even interpret them. So we should go back to saying these things when the situation calls for it. Drop it there. Just drop these little nuggets, drop them in. And I've been doing that for my students, and gradually they are coming around. It's okay, miss, I know what that means, or I think I know what that means, right? And this is all part of their general knowledge, their analytic ability. So drop those little gems as you go along where you see it needed. Let it be a learning occasion, a learning moment, a teachable moment to drop these little seeds, these little nuggets, these little gems. Until next week, when I bring you 4 more wise Jamaican sayings, and of course, dropping in some patois so you pick up some stuff along the way. So this is Calm, and I'll see you next time.